Hey, what's up, guys? So, this episode is going to be a little bit different. This is going to revolve around fluking strategies around the pier. All right, so today's topic is going to be about fishing really tight to a pier. Why would you want to do that? Well, notably, the wind. Wind is a big factor, especially if there's a crosswind. Now, if there's a crosswind, you're going to cast really far out, and there's going to be a huge bow on the line. That's something you really don't want because you can't feel what's going on with your bait, your rig, everything down there. You just can't feel it. And that's important to feel a fluke bite because unlike other fish, like bluefish and striped bass, for instance, they run with it and they let you know instantly that you have a fish on. Fluke are not like that. They just sit there, they just eat, and just lay there. They don't run. So you're not going to feel them for a while. It could be minutes that goes by and not realize that you'll have a fish on. And unfortunately, that results in a gut hook fish. So if you're a novice angler and you found yourself doing that a lot, that's the reason you're just not feeling them. And another reason why you want to fish close is because of the pier itself. The pier is a structure. It's somewhere that the fluke could go to, call it their home even, and just eat all day. They're ambush predators. Perfect place to lay low, wait for a bait fish to swim by, and just feed all day, basically. And oftentimes I see people really not taking advantage of that. If you kind of observe everything that goes on a pier, there are times when little kids they outfish the adults because they can't cast very far and they're just kind of dropping it right down, and they're catching probably more fish, and I've seen them catch more fish than the guys casting really far out. So if you observe things on a pier, you could actually go away with learning something new. Um, Observation is really key. There's all different types of levels of anglers, and just find out which one is doing what and kind of mimic them. There are days when I've fished nearly all day without making any long cast. There was just so much fish just under my nose that there was really no reason to cast far. So it doesn't have to be a windy day. It could just be a perfectly normal day, and you'll probably catch more fish than anyone else on the pier just by just dropping it uh, right under your nose. All right, just a disclaimer: you're not gonna see any keeper fluke. Obviously, a lot of the fish are coming up small, like this guy, but it doesn't mean that they're not under there. Now I'm going to be dropping straight down or casting parallel to the pier. Now, I know that you can't cast parallel to the pier without crossing somebody's line. I get that, but this particular pier is kind of like an L shape, so you could see on the video that no one's fishing on the interior side of that pier. So that's free to fish however you like it. Um, Now, yeah, there's probably reasons why no one's fishing there is because I know this pier very well, and legend has it that there's a sunken boat in there somewhere, and a lot of people do get snagged in that area. But I know that really tight to that pier, like where I'm casting right there. Now, there is nothing in the way over there. It's pretty clean, and that's pretty much where I want to be anyway. Here's another piece of advice about a new area that you're fishing. You find an area that you kind of like, but you find yourself getting snagged a lot. I wouldn't give up. A lot of people say, no, this area is way too snaggy. I'm not going to fish it anymore. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think you should just keep on doing it. Yeah, you're going to lose a lot of rigs, but after a while, you're going to memorize where every single snags are, and you're going to avoid it. And by doing that, each and every trip that you make out there, you're going to be more confident. You're going to snag up less. You're going to tie less rigs. It's just going to be a lot easier. And after a while, you're probably not going to lose any rigs after that. That's happened to me. I went to a new place and I lost 10 rigs in one day, not even a day. It was like 2 hours. I must have lost 10 rigs. But I memorized where they all were, and now I go there. I might lose a rig or two, but nowhere near the amount of rigs that I lost the first time I ever went. And it's an area where it produced a lot of fish for me over the years. Now, if I just gave up on it, that's one less place that I'm able to go to find fish. You've seen me working this spot for a little while now. That's only because I had a couple of hits over here. I know that there's a fish right there, right where I'm kind of jigging it, and it's just not taking it. Kind of swiped at it. He's probably really annoyed at it. I don't even think it's hungry. It's probably just really annoyed. So I make another cast up current, and hopefully the drift coming across it will get him to bite. Now, if I didn't think there was a fish there, I wouldn't try that hard. And then finally he gets it. Sometimes I think they're kind of annoyed, not really hungry, but more annoyed than anything. Remember, they don't have hands to like punch something out of the way. They only have their mouths, so they might bite for different reasons. Damn crosswind, killing me. They don't want the shrimp. So you heard me say they didn't want the shrimp, but the day before, they did want the shrimp. They were on the shrimp, and they weren't on some other things as much as the shrimp. So I figured, actually, let me start out with the gulp shrimp, and they just didn't want. 20 minutes went by without a fish. That might seem like not a big deal, but I know that there's plenty of fluke down there. Probably not going to be big, but there's tons of. The floor is carpeted with fluke. Anyway, they're going to be small, but I know that there's going to be a lot of fluke. And 20 minutes go by without a hit. That sent a signal to me that they did not want the gulp shrimp on this particular day. And it's funny because, just 24 hours later, the fish, they seem to want something else. So every day is different. Always remember that. What they wanted one day, it could be completely different the next day. So you saw me with the failed attempt at swinging a fish over. That happens once in a while. Definitely happens once in a while. But this is my second chance. It's almost identical and almost identical size of the fish as well. Definitely not the same fish, I don't believe. But yeah, it was funny. It was kind of like a carbon copy of the same fish, same swing and everything. So that second fish right here, that was probably the second cast after my previous one, which I made a failed attempt to swing. So right away, like within 2 minutes, I got two fish, and that's all because I changed it out to a white swimming mullet. Yeah, so always experiment. If things get slow, change out your bait. Try something totally different color, different profile. Just experiment. Right, so it's not a fish, but it's still something because I salvaged a 4-ounce sinker off of that that cluster of mussels. You're gonna see a lot in this video of me moving around from place to place. On the left side, I'm on the right side, I'm on the inside, I'm on the outside. I move around a lot because especially if I'm not casting far, I'm limited in space. I want to pretty much use up the entire pier. I want to just check it out. Don't be scared to just leave your spot, especially when there's not a lot of people around. What are you gonna protect? There's nothing really to protect. There's plenty of places to fish. I could be doing this all day, so fish a spot for a minute here, and if nothing's producing, just turn around and go on the other side. That's your best bet. Just move around the pier. Fluke, they don't cover a lot of ground in order to find their food. They rely on ambushing, so they're not as mobile, let's say, as a bluefish. They don't cover tons of ground. So I don't expect them to find me. I expect to find them, so I need to cover a lot of ground. All right, so guys, I hope you found this informative, maybe even entertaining. But remember to visit your piers. You're gonna find a lot of cool people. You're gonna find all levels of fishing. You're gonna find the beginners to the veterans, the old salts. I learned a lot from observing these guys when I first started out, and it's taught me a whole lot just by observing. You don't even have to talk to them if you don't want to. So again, remember to subscribe, and hopefully I'll bring out more of these type of videos if you want, and I'll talk to you guys next time.